5 seconds to go. Start. Mr. Speaker, sir, our government has spearheaded radical fiscal measures to ensure that India's economy continues to tread the path of high growth. These are times when countries are competing with each other like never before to become the most attractive destination for doing business. Therefore, to make sure that India stays globally competitive and a favored destination for investment, we took a bold historic decision for reducing the corporate tax rate for new companies in the manufacturing sector to an unprecedented level of 5%. Similarly, for the existing companies, the rate has also been brought down to just 22%. As a result, our corporate tax rates are now amongst the lowest in the world. This will enable companies to expand their businesses and make fresh investments in the coming future. Though we will have loss of substantial revenue due to these measures in the short run, I am certain that our economy will reap huge returns on this score in due course. In continuation of the reform measures already taken so far, the tax proposals in this budget will introduce further reforms to stimulate growth, simplify tax structure, bring ease of compliance, and reduce litigations. In the interim budget of 2019, our government exempted individuals having income up to 5 lakh from paying any income tax. Presently, an individual pays 20% on income between 5 lakh to 10 lakh and 30% on income above 10 lakh. Further, currently the Income Tax Act is riddled with various exemptions and deductions which make compliance by the taxpayer and administration of the Income Tax Act by the tax authorities a burdensome process. It is almost impossible for a taxpayer to comply with the income tax law without taking help from professionals. In order to provide significant relief to the individual taxpayers and to simplify the income tax law, I propose to bring a new and simplified personal income tax regime wherein income tax rates will be significantly reduced for the individual taxpayers who forego certain deductions and exemptions. The new tax regime shall be optional for the taxpayers. An individual who is currently availing more deductions and exemption under the Income Tax Act may choose to avail them and continue to pay tax in the old regime. The new personal income tax rates will entail estimated revenue foregone of 40,000 crore per year. We have also initiated measures to pre-fill the income tax return so that an individual who opts for the new regime would need no assistance from an expert to file his return and pay income tax. In order to simplify income tax system, I have reviewed all the assumption and deductions which got incorporated in the income tax legislation over the past several decades. It was surprising to know that currently more than 100 exemptions and deductions of different nature are provided in the Income Tax Act. I have removed around 70% of them in the new simplified regime. We will review and rationalize the remaining exemptions and deductions in the coming years with a view to further simplifying the tax system and lowering the tax rate. Currently, companies are required to pay dividend distribution tax on the dividend paid to its shareholders at the rate of 15% plus applicable surcharge and cess in addition to the tax payable by the company on its profits. It has been argued that the system of levying DDT results in increase in tax burden for investors and especially those who are liable to pay tax less than the rate of DDT if the dividend income is included in their income. Further, non-availability of credit of DDT to most of the foreign investors in their home country results in reduction of rate of return on equity capital for them. In order to increase the attractiveness of the Indian equity market and to provide relief to a large class of investors, I propose to remove the DDT and adopt the classical system of dividend taxation under which the companies would not be required to pay DDT. The dividend shall be taxed only in the hands of the recipients at their applicable rate. Further, in order to remove the cascading effect, I also propose to allow deduction for the dividend received by holding company from its subsidiary. The removal of DDT will lead to estimated annual revenue foregone of 25,000 crore. This is another bold move which will further make India an attractive destination for investment. In order to give boost to the manufacturing sector, new provisions were introduced in September 2019 offering a concessional corporate tax rate of 15% to the newly incorporated domestic companies in the manufacturing sector which start manufacturing by 31st March. In order to attract investment in power sector, I propose to extend the concessional corporate tax rate of 15% to new domestic companies engaged in the generation of electricity.